Someone else who alerted us about the probable debilitating impact of this circular quite early. Sridhar Sivaram, the investment director at Enam Holdings, is joining us on the phone line. Sridhar, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. I remember that 2-3 weeks back, where I think late December, after the circular had come out, you told us that this can have some pernicious impact on appetite. People were not selling out because of it. What will the response be now that it has just been held in abeyance?
So I think I've had discussions with many of my friends who are, managers of large FII houses, managing India funds. I think this was an irritant. This could have been a big issue as far as the market's concerned. The feeling was that this was, it seemed so bizarre that people didn't believe that this could actually go through. And the expectation was some clarification will come. I didn't expect it now. The expectation was it will come in the budget. This will not go through. Had it not come up to the budget, then we could have seen a huge sell-off, because this has the potential of, fairly substantial amount of India-dedicated funds getting impacted. And I'm happy to see that the government has acted quite fast, because this came almost at the end of December and most FIIs were, on holidays. And the government has acted as soon as, some of the media partners like you guys and some of the other industry partners who have come out and made representations to the government. I'm happy that they've acted fast and they've understood the seriousness of this whole issue.
Okay. Sridhar, good morning. Coincidence that we also had FII buy number yesterday. Do you get a sense that the tide could turn now from here on?
So I think you'll have to also keep in perspective that the emerging markets have had a very good start. So if you see year to date, emerging markets are already up, 4-5%. Brazil has again had an amazing start. It's up almost 8%. Currencies have actually appreciated in most emerging markets. We're seeing some flows to emerging market funds. So it's been a great start to emerging markets. And just keep in mind that India's the result season as of now has been much better than expected. Most of us were not very sure how to analyze this demonetization and the impact of that on earnings. I have to say that I have been pleasantly surprised for the results that we've seen till now. So I think it could be a combination of factors, but we'll have to wait and see how this whole thing pans out. So far, so good.
Okay, so far so good. Sridhar, good morning. For now, the CBDT circular has been put on hold. So it's a respite for the time being, but there is an expectation that there could be some amendments in the budget on the 1st of February with respect to this. What could those amendments be? Are we looking at any kind of carve-outs for FPIs like it was done with the minimum alternate tax, or are we even looking at, the diluting the applicability of some of the provisions for FPIs?
So I sincerely hope that an amendment is made in the section itself so that FPIs or FIRs are exempt from this. I understand there's a similar provision in China also, and their FIRs and FPIs have been specifically exempt from such provisions because they're really portfolio investors and really not looking to control or make any controlling stake in companies. My other point is that we do see every year some issue on taxation. You mentioned about MAT, which was an irritant. It stayed for a while and then the government came up with some clarification. We are seeing with this now. I sincerely hope that, the tax clarity, which is more important, because speaking to some of my friends and also having been part of an FII house for many years, I don't think paying tax is such a big issue. I think the clarity of taxation is a bigger issue, and for whatever reason, India hasn't fared very well as far as clarity of taxation is concerned. I sincerely hope that an attempt is made so that these things do not repeat. It's an irritant. Especially keep in mind that India as a country hasn't done well last year. Even pre-demon, India was underperforming and ended up almost 10% underperformance over emerging markets. And most fund managers were overweight India. After a point, you just capitulate, and we know that many fund managers, some of whom I've interviewed on your channel, have said that they've reduced the overweight of India. So these irritants just add up to, some of those reasons to reduce India overweight. I sincerely hope, given that the government has acted very fast on this, I hope that they ensure that we don't get any future such shocks we've been getting this almost every year, once in a while.
So you're saying that FPI should be exempt altogether from this provision, and you won't, be satisfied if there's any kind of carve out for FPI, some minimum holding or something like that?
That's right. Keep in mind that this is an indirect transfer and it impacts the investor. So we are really talking of taxing the investor. You're already going to be taxing the fund, and even the Mauritius and the Singapore treaties have been renegotiated. So 100% of the funds are going to get taxed in India. So as soon as you say that you're going to tax the investor also, it amounts to double taxation on the same gain. So I don't see any reason to have this to start with, once that you have negotiated and the treaties have been renegotiated. So I really feel that it doesn't add any value and just adds to more irritants as far as FIRs are concerned.
Well, just one final question, Sridhar. Are you getting a sense that we could be in for something good? Would you be a buyer at current levels, looking at the early bird results, looking at the turning tide in emerging markets as well?
So Lata, selectively we were buyers even during the demon period. Because we did believe that over a medium term, demonetization did have many positives. We do accept that there were some challenges as the demonetization process was going through. So I wouldn't say that we were sellers, but selectively we were buyers. Keep in mind that this is no longer a thematic buy. You can just buy one sector and everything goes up. It's very stock specific right now. Within sectors also, we are seeing huge divergence. We've seen with banks, one of the results which came out, they were outstanding. We know some of the others may not be so good. So what I'm trying to say is that there is opportunity in this market, and one has to take that with a medium-term view. Maybe 12 months view, there's enough money to be made.
So Sridhar, just one last question from my side as well. Actually, a couple of questions. A, you pointed out that this really is a stock-specific market, bottom-up stock pickers market, and we've seen huge outperformance of mid-caps. Do you expect that to continue, at least in the first half of 2017? And secondly, do you think it will take time for Indian market to catch up? You spoke about emerging market, good start for 2017, but we are still lagging. And if you add last quarter, so do you think it will take time for us to catch up?
Yeah, I think it will take time because the large caps, I think that it's like the leaking bucket theory that we are having, some sector which is doing well, but we are having some of the other sectors which are struggling. So we are seeing. We've just seen the IT results. They were nothing to write home about. So we may see them struggle for some more time. Pharma has their own issues. And it's possible some of the beaten down sectors may go up. So at an index level, maybe we may still struggle. But maybe at a stock level and maybe even at a mid-cap, the opportunity seems to be slightly better right now. Even within the large cap, there seems to be a lot of opportunity. To be honest, I think I find more opportunity in the large cap space right now than the mid cap because of the valuation differential. But having said that, from an index level, I'm not very sure if it all adds up because not all the engines are firing together and some of the large ones are actually lagging right now.
All right. Sridhar, thank you very much for joining us and making an unscheduled early morning stop with us.